Thank you. As the Chancellor mentioned, we've been working with DLR Group on the development of this project for the past year, as well as a team of consulting engineers and other design professionals. And we've worked very closely with athletics, facilities, rec services, and many other groups on campus who all have an interest in this project. And so today I'm going to talk about some project schedule milestone updates, the recreation field 8 and 9 relocation, and then the 15,000-seat football stadium design, as well as the study to expand that to 40,000 seats. And I'll have several slides of each to go over, and then I'll wrap up with a some comparison slides to show the 15,000-seat and 40,000-seat stadium side by side. We have successfully bid the relocation of recreation fields 8 and 9 within the budget allocated for that project, and the construction manager, Rogers PCL Russell, is in the process of awarding contracts to successful bidders. We will be starting construction this month and will be complete with that project in June of this year. The football complex design will be complete by March of this year and will be out to bid by April and starting construction by May to be complete by August of 2012. And of course, the first football game is scheduled for August 31st of 2013. The site for the football complex will be located on campus, on the CRI campus out in front of the Duke and Grigg buildings. And of course, this site is currently being used for recreation fields. And so our first part of this project is to relocate those fields to a different site on campus. The site selected for that is near the Wachovia Fieldhouse, which is right here. There are 3 fields associated with this project. In the upper left-hand corner is Field 6, which will be a synthetic playing surface that can be used for football, softball, soccer, rugby, and lacrosse. In the lower left-hand corner is Field 5, which is a natural grass playing surface that can be used for soccer, softball, and rugby. In the right-hand side of the slide is Field 3, which is also a natural grass playing surface that can be used for soccer and football. As part of this project, we are relocating the existing sports lights around fields 8 and 9 to this new location and supplementing the lighting with new light fixtures as necessary to accommodate this layout. Also part of this project, adjacent to Field 6, is a storage and restroom facility for use by recreation services. This is a rendering of what, looking down on Field 6, what that will look like with the storage and restroom facility adjacent, as well as the existing Wachovia Fieldhouse. So we're very excited with how this project has started, and we look forward to completing it this summer. This is an aerial image of what the new 15,000-seat stadium will look like on the site that is currently the recreation field relocation, or recreation fields. The stadium field will be on axis and centered between the Duke and Grigg buildings, and in the south end zone will be a 2-story field house, approximately 46,000 square feet, with a scoreboard above the field house in the south end zone. The press box is located on the west concourse, centered on the 50-yard line, and there are also on the west concourse are additional our restroom and concession buildings and a ticket booth in the southwest corner. On the east concourse are additional concession and restroom facilities, as well as a kitchen commissary in the northeast corner. As part of this project, we are trying to maintain as much of the existing parking around the loop as possible in the initial phase. We are also installing a service drive on the east side of the stadium that will wrap around the east side and actually ramp down in the southeast corner to access the field level. The playing surface for the stadium field will be a synthetic playing surface that will be 25 feet below the concourse, with all 15,000 seats below the concourse around the east, north, and west sides. There are 5 main entrances to the facility, one at the north end, the west side, the east side, southeast corner, and southwest corner. On the east side of the service drive is a practice facility with a full practice field and an 80-yard practice field, both natural grass playing surfaces, as well as a 2,000 square foot maintenance building and a shelter. And all of that will be fenced in and screened from view. Adjacent to the maintenance building will be a new parking lot that serves the field house. And a part of our charge was to design or study how this stadium could be expanded to 40,000 seats over time without removing any of the existing any of the structures built in the first phase. And that meant sizing those buildings on the concourse and locating them in a manner that we could build above and around them. This next image represents what the 40,000 seat stadium will look like, with the additional 25,000 seats above the concourse on the east and the west sides. Also, a new press box facility installed on the west concourse, rising above the seating on the west side. We're also showing in the north entrance an opportunity for a larger, more monumental entrance, as well as an opportunity for a larger scoreboard above the field house as the stadium grows. The view of the stadium from between the Duke and Grigg buildings, as you're looking, this will be your view as you're looking at the north entrance to the field house in the south end zone. Of course, this is the 15,000 seat stadium with the press box on the west concourse, or the right side of this slide, and the concession and restroom buildings also on the east and the west concourse. As the stadium expands to 40,000 seats over time, this is looking at the larger, more monumental entrance at the north end, as well as the bleachers above the concourse on each side, with the new press box above. As you move through the north entrance, this would be your view standing on the north concourse, of course looking at the field house in the south end zone, and the press box, the initial press box on the west concourse. As the stadium grows, you can see how the bleachers are built above the press box from the initial phase, which could be converted into suites at this stage, with a new press box above the bleachers. The view from the field level of the field house, taking a closer look at the field house, if you'll notice in the central portion of the lower level, which is at the field level, is an arched opening that actually tunnels back into the field house. This is where the home team will enter the field on game day. On the left-hand side of this slide will be where the visitors enter the field, and on the right-hand side, officials will enter the field. If you'll notice on the left-hand side of the slide, there's a bridge that spans over the ramp down to the field level. This bridge actually connects to the concourse on the east side and connects to a walkway on the field house where you can actually circulate around the stadium through another bridge on this side of the stadium. And that walkway is 4 feet lower than the hospitality deck, so that people can pass in front of that without blocking views of the hospitality deck. As the stadium grows to 40,000 seats, there's really not a lot that changes in the south end zone. The field house stays relatively the same. You can see bleachers on the west concourse, above the west concourse, and a potentially larger scoreboard above the field house. Looking at the plan view of the lower level of the field house, the bottom portion of the slide is the main campus side of the field house, and at this level is actually below grade. On the upper portion of this slide is the field side of the lower level, with a training room, a weight training room on the right-hand side, with an athlete's lounge, as well as a training room, all with windows and views out to the field. In the lower left-hand corner is the home team locker room. Lower right-hand corner is the visitors' locker room, and there are also officials and coaches' locker rooms, as well as support space such as a laundry room and an equipment room. As you move up to the upper level of the field house, again on the bottom portion of the slide is the campus side, and this is the elevation you would actually enter the field house from the main campus side. On the far right-hand side of this image is the academic center for the football program. Directly adjacent to that is a 126-seat tiered classroom that could be used for full team meetings and potentially post-game press conference space. On the right-hand side of this slide are the coaches' offices, including the head coach's office, assistants, coordinators, meeting space, as well as film viewing rooms. In the central core of the upper level, on the main campus side, is a lobby area that opens up to, there's an open staircase and an elevator that connect the two levels, and then a hospitality space that opens up to the hospitality deck that I mentioned previously. Directly in front of the hospitality deck is the walkway that connects to the concourse on each side. This is the view of from the hospitality deck. Of course, a great view of the field, the seating bowl, and the press box on the concourse, as well as the existing Grigg building in the background. As the stadium grows to 40,000 seats, you can see the bleachers built above the press box from the initial phase, which would become suites, with the new press box above the bleachers. Of course, you can still see the Grigg building in the background, and if this view were expanded, the Duke building on the right side of this image. And the idea was, as the stadium grows, we wanted to put all of the bleachers on the east and west sides and keep the north side as open as possible for the views into, through, and out of the stadium. This is the press box, the campus side of the press box, which would actually face the Epic building. If you were to walk through the series of arches and go to your left or right, you could get to a set of stairs that would take you up to the press box level, which is 7 feet above the concourse. Within the press box, there's a print media space, broadcast media, TV broadcast, scoreboard booths, as well as a security booth, and a university box for seating for 32 people, with an adjacent restroom within the press box. The view of the press box from the field shows a much different architectural solution. Of course, as much glass as possible with very limited visual obstruction to the field. And finally, the comparison slides. Each of these images will have the 15,000 seat stadium above the 40,000 seat stadium image. And of course, this is the aerial view to show how the stadium grows over time. The view from between the Duke and Grigg buildings. And as I mentioned previously, the view of the south end zone remains relatively unchanged. But you can see the view from the hospitality plaza really shows the additional seating above the concourse and the additional press box, the more substantial structure. So we're very excited with where we are with this project, and can't wait to break ground very soon and get the project moving. Thank you.